Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to all of you gathered and to all of us gathered here on Zoom across the internet, across the nation and the world. I'm Cantor Wally Shackett Briskin. It's my pleasure to bring a little piece of Shabbat to guide us into Shabbat. Shabbat comes on its own, but really, actually, Shabbat doesn't come without us entering into it. It takes an act of will. It takes some consciousness on all of our parts to take a breath, to take a step back a little bit, to allow Shabbat to wash over us, to bring us into the end of the week, into this special time that's not really the regular weekday, and it's not quite the weekend. It's kind of this liminal time where time has no meaning a little bit, and we stop watching our clocks, we stop the busyness of the work week, and we take a little bit more time to relax and to breathe in and to allow Shabbat to bring us peace in the world. So I invite you now just to allow yourself to be aware of all that's around you and a little bit to let go of what's around you. Just to breathe in and to breathe out, to say goodbye to the regular week and to let holiness enter our lives. Tomorrow we will have some additional holiness in Shabbat as we are led in the service by Bat Mitzvah, Sammy. And so it's my pleasure now to call her and her parents, Valerie and Evan, to help light our candles and lead us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'hivyanu lazman. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chalik ner shel Shabbat.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei puri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher litziad mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. We'll begin with some learning. One seldom meets a person as unique as Debbie Friedman. She was at once frank, telling it like it is, without pretense, yet concerned with the individual she was talking with, and at the same time, one whose deeply spiritual and passionate way of closing her eyes and singing softly made emotionally uplifting connections with thousands of people all at once. She was, on the one hand, the source of what synagogue leaders in the 1970s saw as fluff, music to be disregarded and possibly a threat to the great cantorial art. And on the other hand, one who was accepted on the faculty of Hebrew Union College in New York and Los Angeles as an artist in residence. We would rock out at camp to hear her song, Not by Might, and I've shared her beautifully quiet Sow in Tears and Reap in Joy before the Kaddish, and her Lechilach is a favorite of mine to sing at B'nai Mitzvah ceremonies. She was uniquely Debbie Friedman, and this week we mark her 11th yahrzeit. 2 summers after my fingers had figured out how to play all 8 guitar chords on Debbie's And Thou Shalt Love, the first song I learned to play and sing at the same time, I was a junior song leader up at camp, and I was there when she came into the office to check in for a concert she was invited to give at the camp. Our eyes met, and I was starstruck. She put her arms out to this fledgling music teacher. I said, "Do I really get to hug the Debbie Friedman?" In a mockingly annoyed tone, she said her very first sentence to me, "Don't say it, do it." That made any pretense disappear. The next year, I was visiting a friend of mine from camp living in the San Fernando Valley, and my friend invited me to stay for dinner and evening activities. She said her mom's friend Debbie was coming over, and we played some board games. And in walked Debbie Friedman. I played her cassette tape of Jewish parody songs I had just bought from a band called Schlock Rock. We had some wonderful conversations, and we wound up playing Scruples, which is a game where you have to decide what you do in a moral dilemma. You don't have to tell the truth. In fact, it's more fun if you don't. And Debbie's answers were always the most outrageous. Soon after that, I was the head song leader at Camp Swig, and in exchange for playing some of the latest camp hits into a tape recorder for the doctor's wife at camp, I was given copies of Debbie's records on cassette. Both I and the doctor's wife remarked how Debbie's LPs were not readily available. I kept in touch with Randy, the doctor's wife, over the next few years, and she told me that after that summer, she tried to investigate why Debbie's recordings were hard to find. She contacted Debbie, who was supplying cassettes and LPs to a few record stores out of a storage bucket in her closet. Randy and Debbie became friends, and eventually, Randy became her main distributor, licensed her music, produced her CDs and songbooks, sold her products at conferences and concerts, and sent out mail-order catalogs, which turned into a website which sold my music as well as Debbie's. When Barney, TV's Purple Dinosaur, tried to do a cover of Debbie's Alphabet song without permission, Randy's lawyers issued a cease and desist order, and when Barney didn't stop, they went after him and won. I interviewed Debbie for my master's thesis on the music of Reformed Jewish youth, and she was as amazed as I was at how her music and that genre had grown to be so wildly popular. She was a chart topper in our world, an admittedly niche audience of summer camps, progressive synagogues, URJ biennials, and Debbie groupies. Her original intent was not to make adults sing. It was to make prayers accessible to her and to her teenage peers by putting them to musical styles with which they could connect. I wrote in my thesis, in 1971, she brought her style, quote, echoing the big sky over a prairie, AM radio, hootenannies, and highways, end quote, reflecting a rural upbringing in Minnesota, to the dining hall at Kutz Camp in Warwick, New York. A few Reform youth groupers in Warwick got permission to record a vinyl LP for $400 in 1972. They had intended to sell at least 100 copies as a fundraiser for Nifty's service projects. On the one side of the album was Michael Isaacson's Folk Service. On the other side were some songs Nifty sang, from Debbie Friedman, from Louis Dobin, and from some American-sounding Israeli songs. Debbie had just released her first record that year and recorded an album with songs and campers from Camp Swig in 1974 called Tov Lanu Lashir. With more than 20 recordings in her career, her musicality matured from Yitgadal v'Yitgadash to beautiful soft tunes like You Are the One, For This I Pray, and I Will Sing My Prayer to You. Over the years, Debbie and I appeared at conferences at separate times or together in a big sing-along. She got to know my wife, Tammy, and had long conversations about our health and well-being. Every time we would meet, she'd hug me, and before I had a chance to ask about her, she'd speak first. How's Tammy? She was always concerned with the individual and his or her life, and she poo-pooed the idea that she should be talked to or talked about like a celebrity. She came to realize and to teach that life is a blessing. Blessings, in Debbie's words, are not those nebulous, distant, magical intangibles. Rather, they are the recognition of all that is, the affirmation of faith in the source of all life, and the enactment of the potential goodness with which each soul has been endowed. I was blessed to know Debbie Friedman and to get to know the woman behind so many songs we love to sing. In fact, see if you can count tonight the number of compositions we offer that we know and love that were penned by Debbie. Listen especially to the Shema, the And You Shall Love, the Mi Chamocha, the Mi Sheberach, maybe even an Oseh Shalom. We'll continue on page 127. Let's read together. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. מועכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 144. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא יברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן מעלמא ואמרו amen. If you're able, please rise for our call to worship. La 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed, leolam vaed. La 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 la. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Oreyom balayla, golel ormi b'nei choshech, golel ormi b'nei choshech, v'choshech mi b'nei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. page 150. Let's read together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gate, and upon your gate, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is enough evil to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event. So we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamo chava elim Adonai mi chamo chaded abakudesh nora tehilot osefele nora tehilot osefele malchutecha uvanecha bokei yam livnei Moshe uMiriam ze Elianu ve'amru ze Elianu ve'amru Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 160, we ask for a peaceful night's sleep. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu shomereinu lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu shomereinu lechaim Spread the shelter of your peace over us Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu shomereinu lechaim Save us for the sake of your name Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu shomereinu lechaim lechaim lechaim. Page 163. Together, a thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. The Sabbath arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Page 164. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Please rise. Adonai Sefatai Tiftat, Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Open my heart to love. Please be seated. We continue on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfills its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim le'olam. 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 Ki אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום 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 רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם תשים לעולם תשים לעולם. We pause for a moment to silent prayer. Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imeru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'imromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael we take time during each service to think of those who are ill and to pray for their recovery, for their speedy recovery, for their full recovery. Misha Beirach, the words to it can be found on page 371. We think especially of Glenn Cohen, Daniel and Mindy Minerva, Stephen Rice, Jordan Silverman, Richard Cohen, Brian Roche, Colleen Syatt, Norma Menaker, Jan Gale, Ron Klug, Karen Schiffman-Goldstein, Arlene Schwartz, Ali Glazer, Fabian Burston, Samantha Ratner, Joey Ratner, Benjamin Ratner, Jared Gazurski, Grayson Shukovsky, Barbara Lovino, Michelle Safran, Rich Bowden, Spencer Gray Rothstein, Benita Apple, Brody Scher, Tammy Bowling, Carol Levine, Kira Schwartz, Samuel Finkelstein, Arnold Levine, Jenna Schneller, Bonnie Eskowitz, Fred Shaw, Nechama Leah, Bert Stillman, Richard Craig, Abe and Rhea Drucker, Alice Schumann, G. Garmel, Kathy Lewitt, Linda Esposito, Myra Baskin, George White, Cheryl Hershkowitz, Jessica Donatelli, Auntie Annie, Jared Narotsky, Salvatore Profacci, Harriet Domro, and Yuchi Mazzola. We also think of those afflicted with COVID-19. If there are others that you'd like to mention their names out loud, we invite you to do so at this time. Misha Beirach Avotenu v'Imotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless those in need of healing with Rufuat HaNefesh u'Rufuat HaGuf, a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit, and let us say, Amen. Misha Beirach Avotenu, Makor HaBaracha Leimotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and to let us say, Amen. Mishe Beirach Imotenu, Makor HaBaracha Lavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and to let us say, Amen. Page 586, in the middle, we move toward the conclusion of our service. Please rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzeir bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu kor'im, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai Ushemo echad. Please be seated. We think now of our own loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We think especially of those whose yahrzeits, we think especially of those 853,612 Americans who have succumbed to COVID, over 5,484,589 in the world. We think of those whose families are in the 30-day mourning period of Shloshim: Stan Ruditz, Fred Shaw, Janice Solomon, Michael Pickett. And we think lovingly of those whose yahrzeits, the anniversary of their death, falls this Shabbat: Murray Abelson, Faye Alda, Hilda Alpert, Harold Altman, Tilly Bromberg-Bayer, Carol Benedon, Hyman Berger, Charlotte Bernstein, Roberta Bieber, George Block, Kenneth Bloom, Irene Bookfor, Dottie Brudo, Samuel Cooper, Robert P. Crane, Ann Denbaum, Regina Darris, Stephen J. Darris, Sylvia Dorfman, Dora Engelson, Jenny Esserman, Robert Feibush, Oscar Feld, Charles Freed, Francis Friedman, Elias Fromovich, Harry Gannat, Estelle Gannat, Lester Lazarus Goldberg, Bernard D. Golden, Gerald David Goldsmith, Sari Graber, Leonard Gross, Harriet Grubman Robin, Robert Harry Hilton, Rose Himmel, Mary Hoff, Stanley Hoffman, Saul Jaloski, Carol Jast, Sarah Callett, Martin Kanan, Edward Kaplan, Thelma Cass, Ann Tarnoff Kay, Jacob Kornblue, Stephen Koster, Arthur B. Lallen, Arthur Letterman, Ethel Lesky, Blanche Levy, Bernard Lipson, Dennis Mack, Clara Magazine, Donald Malik, Louis Mandel, Beatrice Margulies, Lena Mart, Morris S. Matza, Elsa Mautner, Julius Mednick, Gary Mester, Molly Metz, Morris Miller, Jack Morstein, Rose Markowitz Nathanson, Jerome Nathanson, Barry Paper, Elizabeth L. Perlman, Harry Perlmutter, Ruth Pines, Werner Pollock, Rose Polikoff, Toba Polikoff, Paula Price, Jack Sadowitz, Mark Schachter, Helen Schaefer, Sylvia Siegel, Sam Shapiro, Rose Siegel, Mort Syatt, Burton Silverstein, Julius Slater, David Solomon, Ann Sommer, Henrietta Stauber, Ruben Steiner, Sidney E. Stern, Arthur Teichler, Jean Teichler, Morma Teitler. We also name 6 individuals by their names who perished in the Holocaust to give meaning to their lives: Chaim Zilferblatt, Ruth May, Israel Mansnicker, Pinchas Rosenberg, Clara Grinberg, Sholem Litvak. Grateful for their memories, we rise as one loving community for the words of the mourner's Kaddish. You can find it on page 598. Please rise. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma Divra Chirute V'yamlich Malchute B'chayechon U'vyomechon U'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala U'vizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam V'lalmei Alamaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Romam V'yit Naseh V'yit Hadar, V'yit Aleh, V'yit Halal, Shemei Kudsha, Richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved. And as together we say, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyahase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Please be seated. We are grateful for the offerings that people have made this week, and those include donations that were made in memory of Eugene Paris, Fred Shaw, Janice Solomon, Michael Pickett, and Heather Michelle Alda. And on the yard side of Esta Goldstein, Brenda Joan Kaplan, Abraham Welkis, Goldie Fine, Ann Poritz, Richard Katz, Sally Strauss, Joyce Blumenthal, Samuel Slifkin, Nathan Dinsis, Sarah Ruth Modell, Harry Stone, Sylvia Siegel, Kenneth Bloom, Stanley Hoffman, and Ethel Lesky. Also Werner Pollack, Harry Perlmutter, Stephen Koster, Jack Moorstein, Rose Mercer, Harry Robert Gross, Sylvia Goldstein, Elizabeth L. Perlman, Jack Sadowitz, Ann Denbaum, Regina Darris, Stephen J. Darris, Thelma Cass, Elsa Mautner, Rivi Klein, Julius Mednick, Norma Teitler, Harry Garber, Elias Fromovich, Francis Friedman, George Block, and Oscar Feld. Also on the yard sites of Hilda Alpert, Henrietta Stauber, Sarah Fermaglick, Eleanor Garlick, Martin Cannon, Estelle Gannat, Harry Gannat, Arthur Letterman, Faye Alda, Helen Schaefer, Molly Metz, Carol Jast, Saul Fisher, Sam Shapiro, and Arthur B. Lallen. In honor of the birth of Maya Cora Waxelbaum, and for the complete and speedy recovery of Glenn Cohen and Harriet Domro, and an appreciation of Rabbi Pankin. All right, is there anyone who would love to share some good news? Something good happened to them this week? Maybe there's a bat mitzvah ceremony coming up tomorrow? Hello! There's other things that you'd like to share? Go ahead, in the back. We made it to 2022. Hooray! And what's that? And a job interview. Lots of good prospects for this new year. May it be successful. Good. Other folks? Uncle Scott made it in from California. Hooray! The weather didn't delay you? That's good. Great. We'll look forward to celebrating with you tomorrow. Good. I should mention that next weekend is our Scholar in Residence weekend with Rabbi Dr. Andrea Weiss. She will be beaming in from Philadelphia. we will be changing it up a little bit to make it safe to attend from anywhere in the world. And we will put out the schedule. It'll be modified a little bit. And we will welcome you to join with us from learning from this wonderful person. I actually also was in school at the same time that she was in the mid-90s in New York, and she is a pleasure to learn from. So we look forward to welcoming her for our services next week and the Scholar in Residence teachings, the various teachings that she'll be doing on that Saturday. Lots to view and lots to see and lots to participate in. Check our website. If you're already on our website viewing the service, just click below and you'll find yourselves in the virtual world of Temple Sherry Emeth. So we welcome you to participate in any and all. Let's see. We usually invite one of our youngest people up to help with Hamotzi. Well, you'll be doing it tomorrow, right? So I'll be young. I'll be young tonight. We join together in Hamotzi before breaking for chili. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our prayer is joyfully said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. It is always a mitzvah to think peacefully, to think of the future with positive thoughts, and so declaring that there will yet be peace as an optimistic message is not just wishful thinking, but if we will it, it is no dream. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. We invite you now to, is in the words of the old AT&T commercial, reach out and touch someone. If you are with someone that you pod with, please feel free to draw them close. If you are alone, if you are separate, please put your hand over your heart and we will bless each other with these words. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May you be blessed, may you be safe. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May you be luminous, may you be loved. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you be joyous, may you be healthy, may you be whole. Shabbat shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom.